All right, folks, sorry about that. The last one, I don't know what happened, but now we're back in business. So we're going to cover the yield max dividends today for Group B, and we're also going to discuss the idea or the thesis that the changes that they've made recently are contributing to less NAV erosion and potentially higher dividends. For those changes, if you haven't checked it out already, reference the video I did about a month ago on May 18th, where I talk about goodbye NAV erosion and then the end of NAV erosion um, for those two. Um, and I even talked about it on the 19th as well. But for those three videos, I go over the strategies that YieldMax implemented to potentially combat NAV erosion. So with that being said, let's first go over the dividends. So for CHPY was the first one. This was 40 cents, 40 and a half cents. 39.53% distribution rate. Now remember, because of the Juneteenth holiday tomorrow, it delays the X date and the record date to Friday, and then the payment date to Monday the 23rd. So all of these are going to be paid out Monday the 23rd. GPTY is the next one. The first 8 of them or so, or 9, the first 9 are weekly. So GPTY is 32.26 cents, which is a 36% distribution. Um, LFGY is 47 cents, which is a 63% distribution. QDTY is 23 cents, which is almost 29%. RDTY is 33 cents, which is 37.7%. SDTY is 22 cents, which is 26.63. Ulti, which some of you all, it's some of your favorite one. Some of you say it's like the best, one of the best funds known to mankind. I did get a comment that I might read as to why that might be, but to this point, it kind of eludes me. It's a weekly payer, 8.75 cents. I think I said about 8 cents in the estimate. This is a 74% yield. So I guess the yield on cost might be higher. YMAG is a 58% yield, 17 cents. So these were lower. They were like both over 20 cents last week. Now they're lower. YMAX is 14 cents, which is a 55% payout. Let me see if I can go to my comments and see if I can find that comment that I'm referencing. Let's see here. I think I probably responded to it already, so let me just try to close this and then read it. This one, he said, dude, Ulti has the best capital to payout ratio in ETFs, and their assets under management is exploding higher. Yeah, well, the thing about that is, that's because they've dropped so much. They're more affordable for one thing. And I'm not being a downer on these. I'm just being a realist. I'm not gonna, sit here and be a cheerleader and say, oh, this is the best thing ever. Um, but they've dropped for one thing. So the dividend, and this is what I call the dividend paradox. You're looking at it from a rose-colored glasses standpoint. I call it the dividend paradox. So if it's a 9-cent dividend and Ulti drops in half, that dividend yield suddenly doubles because you know how percentages work. Dividend payouts, you take the dollar amount and then divide by the fund price. That's the dividend payout percentage. So the higher the underlying fund, the lower the dividend percent yield is. And then the lower the fund price, the higher the percent yield. So from that standpoint, I guess you all are looking at it like, oh, it's one of the highest, yielding for the asset value. But there's reasons for that. You got to think about that critically. There's reasons why that's the case. Okay, anyway, so the next one, so we covered all the 9 weekly ones. The next one is Babo. So Babo, the Alibaba one. It has 43. It has a 43-cent dividend, but not 40 thieves. If so, it'd have like 1 cent per thief. A little bit of a play on words there. 35.88% payout. Dips is doing anything but dipping, at least in terms of dividend yield. 29 cents, which is a 45% dividend yield. FBY, 53.6 cents, which is a 41.44% dividend payout. GDXY is 84 cents, which is a 69% payout. JPMO, huh, my old company. By the way, I have another video coming about, I close up my biggest option win ever today. So my year-to-date gains, I'll just say I've basically matched my 2022 salary, which is mind-boggling. When I started this channel in 2021, and I won't get too off topic, but I'm really quite amazed. Today was quite a great day. When I started my channel in 2021, I dreamed of making a full-time salary. And 4 years later, here I am. So let me, I didn't just dream of making a full-time salary. I was already doing that, but I dreamed of making a full-time salary trading options. Um, Here I am now. I've made my 2022 salary and net realized gains for the year. So there's something to be said about that. So anyway, long story short, JP Morgan, which happens to be my former company, 28 cents, which is a 21.85% payout. Morrow, $1.20, actually $1.21 if you round, 71.88% yield. Incredible. Now, people keep saying, depending on what Bitcoin does, that these are going to go higher. The crypto related ones like Coney, Morrow, and so on. Now, Moderna, I think they're waiting for like maybe a cancer vaccine or some kind of cancer treatment or something. If that happens, this one will explode again. But right now it's a 19-cent payout. Ever since COVID with the vaccines and stuff, Moderna's kind of been in the tank. Um, but we're not in the tank for Moderna. We're objective here. 102.74% payout, which is phenomenal, especially based on the share price. NVDY, 67 cents. This is a 53.15% payout, maybe a little lower than we expected. Now, PLTY didn't meet expectations this time. I think I said $5. It was like $7 last time, but 326 is still not too shabby. That's a 62.55% payout. We are, and I've been promising this for a while, folks, but we are going to get into actually looking at the trades, going into the trades and figuring out what the dividends are going to be ourselves. Hey, look who we've got here. We've got Pay the Piper. So what do you think? I wanted to do an options video. Maybe within the next 30 minutes I'll do another one um, to cover that, to commemorate the amazing day of trades today. By the way, so on NVDL, which is like that's my huckleberry in terms of winnings this year. Just real quick though, I think it can get to $80. I mean, we have had NAV erosion and all of that, or well, they don't call it that, but we've had like the resetting, and it's starting to, or what do you call it, slippage. So either way, I locked in my gains today. I realized about 28,000 of the premium that I had sold for. So I'm happy about that. Hey, Money in the Bank, one of my OG fans. Yeah, I'm very thrilled. If you're in my Discord, I posted all of that. Um, we'll talk about that in the next video. He says, Tupac changes, great job, only going to get better. Let's actually, so real quick, hey, look at there, retire on dividends. I think I may just skip retirement because I don't want to lose the benefits at my job because healthcare and all that's like really expensive. But anyway, I did rename the channel Live on Dividends and Options, and I guess feasibly I could do that. Let me show you all here, and I'm not saying this to brag. I mean, it took me a while to learn this. I actually, believe it or not, my own followers taught me stuff I didn't know. But as of today, and we're gonna try to do another video before the night is up just to commemorate. But and this isn't easy for me to share because there's people that in my own family that think, hey, you need to be giving us more. Like, there's people that have an entitlement mentality, basically. I'll just say it. And I hope they watch. I hope they hear because that's what I think. I'm a blunt guy. Um, but this is me for the year here. Now, some people would say, wow, you burned 26,000. It's a risky trading strategy, but just think, I could be total gains. I could be here. I'm netting. This was my 2022 salary. If you add $30 to this total, this was my 2022 salary. And what motivated me, and not to bash my former employer, but they're notorious for the 5 days a week in office, and they're notorious for, um, they're not like a top payer. That's why I left. So it took me to hit six figures, took me too long. I know I'm saying that sounds kind of like, I don't know, spoiled or whatever, but I work hard, so and I saw a lot of my peers get there before me. But anyway, that's not a flex. I'm just saying anybody can learn this. Join the Discord. We share all this stuff. We're making money here. We are comparing notes. This is what's great about a community. We're making real money here, folks. So, and you know what? I'm not charging anything for it. I'm not a grifter. I am labeled as a grifter in another Discord. I'm like number 3 out of 10. So I'm impressed by that. I've impressed somebody. But there's no grifty course sales. There's no expensive courses. If I ever sold a course, and you all can come back to my videos and quote me on this, if I ever sold a course, the maximum I would charge is like 50 to 100 bucks. It would not be it would not be one of these like insanely priced courses. I don't need a big yacht. I don't need mansions. Like if I'm helping people get rich, like I don't need excess. You know, I drive, people always ask, oh, why don't you drive an Audi? Why don't you do this, that? I drive a Honda Civic. It's a hybrid. I just got it this year. Very basic car, great on gas mileage, and it's economical. So, I'm not like a braggadocious, like, hey, let me get the Lambo, let me get the yachts and this and that. I mean, if I get a few million under the belt, who knows? Things could change, but that's just me right now. I'm just being real with you all. And we got our first new Discord member. It happens quick. So anyway, oh, Rod says, I'm not sure why I'm awake. Of course you're awake. You're like a workhorse. You churn out videos like all the time. You're like our inspiration. I mean, you're like the top one in our little group here. So sometimes, I guess I'm on a rant here, but sometimes I think I'd be more disciplined if I had gone in the military. I almost did, but as well as I do, I could do better. I really could do better. Let's see. What does J10 say? Is YieldMax just drawing down from their NAV? Oh, let's get into that, by the way. He says need the early video to go to sleep. What does he post twice a day? I gotta look at your channel more. I gotta I know you go into all the trades and stuff, and I need to, you know, I need to wrap my head around that myself so I can service the audience better. Hey, welcome. Oh, Kwan, Mr. Kwan. Yeah, you're coming with us to New York, right? I'm really excited about that. Sorry I couldn't join the live the other day, but I just wasn't home. I wasn't home till late. Anyway, let's get into real quick. Let's look at a sample size of funds here. Um, and let's see, because a couple of people in my audience are saying that the changes that have been made. Let's just look at Ulti first. I know we always like to pick Jay's brain about this one. So Ulti, why Ulti no go up, right? Um, some of you are saying that the NAV is stabilizing in these. So let's see. Um, looks like we're still down. Okay, the changes went into effect maybe a month ago. So far, if we just track a month, let's see how we're doing. We're up 1.62%. And this is one that's historically been dropping a lot. Now it is choppy. See, it's trading within a range here. If these are like, the Bollinger Bands here, it's trading within, we hit 629 here, we dropped to 605, came back up here, back down. But look at that. That's a much tighter range. We have not breached below $6 in the past month. That's a good sign. And I'm thinking, folks, for everybody out there that's down on these high yield funds that says, oh, it's scammy or this and that, think about all the companies doing this. You've got YieldMax, you've got Curve, you've got Granite Shares, which ironically didn't invite me to their Vegas thing, but that's okay. They're all good. That's not the criteria we judge stuff on. Um, I have had the guy on like 4 times though. But anyway, it's all good. So what was the point of making? We've got Curve, who I really, as far as their integrity and all of that, like I like their work ethic and just their values as people. They seem to really, after talking to the Curve funds people, and I got to have them back on soon. But we've got Curve, we've got Roundhill, we've got obviously YieldMax. I feel like they were the pilot. Um, and then of course Granite shares. And so everyone's trying their own angle on these, and it's almost like when, say, when electricity was invented, or when the light bulb was invented, or like when Al Gore invented the internet. Oh, that's a joke. I was in Nashville last week, and there was not one single mention of him anywhere. I was a little disappointed. My guy that invented the internet. At least those were the notes I got. Um, I know I'm kidding. But what was I saying? Okay, so like when a major invention is coming out, there's usually like a bunch of people that are onto it. Just like when nuclear fission was invented, or whatever, the atomic bomb. Like there's multiple people. If you watch the movie, what was it? Oh shoot, I'm drawing a blank. The movie about the guy that invented the atomic bomb. There was a bunch of people that were onto it at the same time. So my point is, everybody's going to put their heads together and we're going to come up with the best solution. And this NAV erosion thing is going to end up being a thing of the past. We're going to have, I do believe we may come close to having our cake and eating it too. We may get high yields with minimal to no NAV erosion. And with Ulti, we're seeing that right now. I believe it has to do with spreads and the other things which I mentioned in those other videos. I didn't want to take PLTY as an example because that one's the underlying's doing really well, but I wanted to take one that's kind of a little stagnant. Let's take a JPMO. Let's pick on the former employer. Why not? And for all I say, they were a great company. You know, it was for the time I was there. It was stable, but you know, let's see, what do we have here? No worries. Thank God I never got into Ulti. Hey, some of my fans out there think Ulti's like the best fund known to mankind. Not scammy, it's just new breed of income that not everybody understands the mechanics. Oh, I agree. I just, it's amusing everything that's out there, you know. Um, but yeah, I think it's like, it's like lightning in a bottle. It's like it's so new and there's so much excitement around it. Um, and then somebody says Ed. All right, thanks for that. With that, let's see. So let's take JPMO. JPMO is not really fluctuating too much either. We're looking in the past month since we talked about the changes that YieldMax has implemented. Look at this. Okay, we went down to 1586 from 1672. And then look here, since May 23rd, we've come back up. So you see the difference here? That's a much tighter range, folks. It looks like they're figuring this out. Because if you look from February 19th, 1950, a month later, we dropped almost $4. We dropped almost $4. Oh, thanks. That means I think either somebody subscribed or something positive happened, which I did predict when I woke up this morning and did my affirmations. I predicted something positive would happen today. Didn't know, well, obviously somebody would do that, and then didn't know I would make my biggest options win ever. But it's kind of it's becoming something you get accustomed to, I guess, the more you do it. Anyway, let's see here. I think, oh, that was a subscriber. What do I think about Coney or Tesla? I have both. So what does that tell you? Yep, Rod is the man. Shots at JPMO. Yeah, it's like a an ex relationship, right? Hey, I always said when I was employed there was like an unhappy marriage. We made it work. Both sides made it work. They paid for my master's degrees, by the way, which some people don't think I actually have. Um, but anyway, let's see here. I know people like to quiz you. They like to throw out something like they like to throw out terminologies you haven't seen since school, like the Black-Scholes model, and they're like, he doesn't know the Black-Scholes model. He made $92,000 in options trading so far with halfway to go in the year, but he doesn't know shit, you know? People crack me up. Anyway, okay, so you see the range is much tighter now. So I think the changes are taking effect. Let's pick on another one here. Let's pick one that's not as it's not based on an underlying that's going way up. Let's pick on how about MRNY? That's a good one to pick on, right? Moderni. Ooh, that's like a roller coaster ride down. Okay, so year to date. Ooh, watch this. I can tell you, we're seeing the same thing already. Okay, so from the end of the year, 526 to, let's see, so we lost like almost $2 from here to here. The market peaked February 19th. The market took exactly from peak to peak. It was a 3-month turnaround, basically. So February 19th to, oh, let's see, 384. So we lost some here. This one really stayed flat, actually. This might not be the best example. February 18th to March 18th, it was 382 to 340. And then from March 25th, and then we dropped here. And then around the time that the changes went into effect, I want to say May 18th. So watch here. Since May 19th, we've only fluctuated 10 cents. So that, folks, is a great sign. There's less fluctuation, and dividend yields are staying consistent. Now, when Jay is on Friday, we're going to talk extensively with him about this. Let's pick one more, and then we'll call it a video. Which one do we want to pick? Do we want to do Nvidia? Do we want to do Maro? I think I'm going to pick Nvidia. NVDY. Let me just do this here. Quick Nvidia review, real quick. So year to date, Nvidia is actually kind of somewhat flat. So we opened the year. We're back to where we were January 6th, some of our favorite day. Um, let's see. 147. So we're back almost to where we were. Okay, so this might be a good candidate to pick on here. So, okay, from January 24th and let's see, February 19th. So from February 19th to March 19th, we lost like $23. Keep in mind too, the whole DeepSeek thing happened too with NVIDIA from 147. And I got lucky on this one, folks. So this one worked brilliantly for me. I made a lot of money on this DeepSeek situation. NVIDIA, if you play it right, NVIDIA, you can make a lot of money on NVIDIA between NVDL and the other leveraged ETFs out there. Okay, so let's see. Where am I going with this? Okay, so we dropped all the way to $94 a share. So April 4th was like a great buying point for NVIDIA. April 21st, everything started turning around from there, from April 21st to May 20th. Gained like, well, that was like a 50% gain, wasn't it? Okay, so underlying, let's look at NVDY. It's like all you got to do is change a letter to have an ETF. We'll eventually have NVDA, then we'll have an NVDB, NVDC, NVDD. That would be funny. It's like we're going to have every letter in the alphabet. Now let's see. So you can see since so the 21st, we bottomed out there. We started the year at 23.35, but you can see we're getting better as far as fluctuations in the fund. From May 19th to today, we've hardly fluctuated at all. And especially now, some of these they might have started implementing the new strategy later. But so, like this one, this is smooth. If we can get this where it just basically trades sideways and pays great dividends, that's going to be phenomenal. So from like May 30th to today, it's been smooth with a slight upward trajectory. So it looks like the new strategies are working, but we're gonna pick Jay's brain. Wow, we got 28 viewers on here. That hasn't happened in a while. Let's see. Rec shares is great. JP Morgan didn't pay the coach enough. I agree. I had to well, I sold all my stock that I had with JP Morgan. Just rolled my former JP Morgan 401k and I'm doing options there, which I know the experts don't recommend, but I got to tell you it's going really well in a bull market. Now, I'm very cognizant of the risk I'm taking. I know it can easily turn around if the market's bearish, but with this wheel strategy, I really don't see how you can lose with this wheel strategy. So we have NVDII, like the sequel. It's like the sequel to NVIDIA. You know, if we could get a fifth letter in there, we could have number three. We could have a whole trilogy. MRNY is going to zero. So Money in the Bank claims that there will be no money in the bank for MRNY. I'm not sure whether he's right or wrong, but thankfully I happen to be in possession of advanced financial forecasting equipment, also known as the 8 ball. So will MRNY go bankrupt? My sources say no. So the advanced equipment even has sources and they say no. So there you go. Take that to the bank. Of course, we know that's a little parody skit. Some of you take things a little seriously. There's videos of me out there saying, wow, look how the coach actually makes projections. There's a whole, you like to pull from different sources, but, I think most of you know that's parody. Let's see. Shots at JPMO, you missed them. No, they were just very petty, you know. While I worked there, the office policy, the pay. I mean, one year the year I thought I was going to hit 80,000. I was like 79. I'm like, really? They couldn't even bump me to like a flat 80,000. And then I bought this house I'm in now, and I'm like, I need to go get a side hustle or something. Like this job's not paying enough. And I triple majored as an undergrad to get there. It was good when I started, like as far as out of college, it was a good starting salary, but a lot of my peers increased faster. But hey, guess what? Everything happens for a reason, right? Like they say, God works in mysterious ways. Everything happens for a reason. All of that led me here. It led me to YouTube, and it led me to finding all of you fine folks that follow me and that think I know something. What do you think about war and SQQQ? So the media likes to freak everybody out. I don't think this is going to be serious at all. Iran's pretty much crippled as it is. I think this will be over and out of the news cycle much quicker than we think. It's not going to be like a ground war or anything. SQQQ, I have some, but I tend to not go for like the hedging and all of that. I tend to not go for the inverse ones too much. You can. I mean, if we're going to have like a 2022 market, but here's the thing, our market's going to be closer to like 2020 and 2021 than it is to 2022 because at some point, no matter how long Papa Powell wants to hold off, they're going to have to cut rates because I think everywhere else in the world is starting to cut rates. So it's going to have to happen sooner or later. Wow, have I been talking to you all for almost 30 minutes? Time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? Of course, you all make this channel with your amazing comments and insights and stuff. Let's see, what else do we have here? So SQQQ. What do I think about Ulti? Oh, I think Ulti's the best fund ever invented in the history of mankind. I'm kidding, of course, but there are people out there that think Ulti's absolutely amazing. They said it's a low, basically the asset value compared to the dividend it pays. I got into that in the first part of this video. I don't think I need to rehash it, but I call it the dividend paradox. The dividend paradox, basically, when the dividend so the dividend payout dollar amount is a fixed amount, but when the fund drops, the dividend percentage goes up, and then people that don't think critically, they're like, "Oh, look at this. The dividend is higher. The dividend payout, it's like 80% instead of 60%." Well, that might be because the underlying fund dropped. These are things you all have to think about in your investment calculation. Of course, anyone that loves sarcasm is absolutely going to be drawn to me because I'm as sarcastic as it gets. Papa Powell and Papa Coach. Yeah, if I were running the Fed, I would just cut rates 4 times this year. I want rates lower. I want to buy a new house. I want to buy a second house, like brand new. I bought a brand new car. Now I want a brand new house. I want a second one. I want to rent one out. More income. It's crazy because like some people say like I started with $0 as though it's a flex, but I think everybody, unless you're like a trust fund baby or something, I think everybody started with zero. And I remember those days of, and it's been a remarkable turnaround. It's been a remarkable journey to where I am right now. Like I remember, and I started with less than some of these, entitled people that I talk about that, think that the world's stacked against them or this and that. When you work hard, when you're smart about it and you put in effort, you're going to do okay, especially in the United States of America. It's a great country we live in. I'm getting a little philosophical here, but, it's amazing that I'm even, at this age, talking about a second house. What's the best yield max fund in your opinion? That's a tough one. One I'm in, of course. Actually, no. Probably MSTY has been, and I also like PLTY as well. Let's see here. Alti, Papa Pal. So that's the thing. Papa Pal is going to be on the way out. He's got February, his term is up, and he's going to have to cut rates. Either he's going to do it or the next guy is going to do it. But anyway, hey, listen, I've been ranting and raving long enough. I'm going to have to sign off. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe and join Discord. And we will see you all in the next one. Take care. Have a great night. I may be back soon